Capricorn, this is your October 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find this resonates for you. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me, taking the time to tune into the channel. So we're going to open up this month with the energy of the moon, and there is definitely an intensity about October, perhaps the most intense, astrologically speaking, of the year to date. We are into eclipse season, and it would be real easy to get swept up in the chaos. And yet, it's also an opportunity for you to actually gain some profound insight and to forge ahead. This is not a time for you to lose your focus, and we still need you to initiate those very important first steps in October for, the new plans and ideas that have been shaping into your experience. Now, even though the circumstances and conditions are not always ideal, you kind of emerge into October as a real pioneer. And right now, you have the strength and resolve to really create this momentum through October. Now, yes, the moon can create a little bit of confusion around you. And, we know eclipse season is going to be bringing in, some wild card energy. There's a electric feel to the entirety of the month. The veil is also thin as we approach Samhain and Halloween. And what we're really seeing for you this month is a search for new meaning. Now, you may have seen glimpses of that, but now this month I feel like there's this determination to really immerse yourself in this new experience, in this new world. Now, Mercury is shifting into the sign of Libra on the 4th. We're going to have come out fully of retrograde and shadow of both Mercury and Venus. And so there's a lot more clarity actually available to you in terms of the one-to-one conversations that you're having. And also a lot that has been held up and held back is now flowing towards you. And it's going to make it actually much more obvious to you what it is that you need to do and what it will take. Now, there is a strong emphasis around relationships and connections this month with us into Libran energy, and of course welcoming that new moon solar eclipse in the sign. Your Queen of Wands tells me that you're kind of birthing and manifesting something new, and it's intrinsically linked to desires that you've had for a very long time, and it's maybe just felt like it was never your time, it was never quite right, things were not conspiring or aligning for you in the right way, but you feel a little bit like a force of nature this month, Capricorn. Not only that, destiny is carrying you, and I have a sense that you might look back on October and think, who even was I this month? But you will become what you need to be in order to get to the pathway that you're supposed to be on. And you're invited powerfully this month to really nurture the experience of ensuring that your behaviors are matching your intentions and that your actions are really true to your thoughts. And if you can really just advocate for that one approach through October, then you will be able to achieve and progress in immeasurable ways. Sometimes we know the answer and we're not quite ready to accept it. And I do think there is a sort of revealing that's going on in October, and perhaps a sense of urgency that's coming, calling you to face up to something, because there is this requirement for you to move on or to move towards something that is now sort of ripe and ready in your pathway. Now, Venus is going to shift into Virgo on the 8th, coming out of this extended stay in Leo. And so acts of service are our new love language. On the same day, we have an interesting showdown that's taking place between Pluto and Mars. Now, it can sometimes, feel a little bit hostile, a little bit aggressive. And yet, I feel for you, Capricorn, what we're really looking at here is conscious conflict, which is where we truly allow meaningful differences and opposing opinions to be aired, but we still feel respected, loved, appreciated. And, remember, having a conscious connection or relationship doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. And I think your realization, perhaps, of where expectations have been sitting or how someone's been expecting something from you, there's like real breakthroughs, I think, in terms of how we are interacting and responding to one another. And this is across the board in your relationships, not necessarily just romantic, but that is certainly a charged day where you may feel like a showdown is necessary in some form or another, but it can also give you the impetus to be able to break free. Emotions are certainly running high when we look at this fire energy that seems to be all around this. And again, I think the moon bringing through some revelations that have not yet been understood or known, and therefore, that could kind of stir the pot a little bit, but at the same time, the truth will set you free in regards to that. It gears us up, of course, for Pluto stationing direct in your sign on the 10th. And so again, as this planet sort of wakes up from his slumber, there's a sort of groggy imbalance that we feel for a few days until we sort of regain a sense of rhythm. And we're really kind of moving through this last final cycle of Pluto in your sign. And so, you have learned the lessons, and there's even perhaps a weariness of just like, and a readiness for your life to truly sort of move on. And that's all happening. In fact, there's such a sense of like a setup experience happening through the month of October for you. Like I said, you'll look back and feel pleased with yourself. More than that, you'll celebrate the boldness with which you were able to come at, the challenges that perhaps you were still facing, but also the way that you were taking some of the knowing and the experiences that have been, formulating this new idea and plan for you in your life. And really this kind of setup, the things that you're putting in place, the foundational pieces. The Empress really talks to me, especially with that Queen of Wands as well, about you just birthing something new through the course of October. And there's an excitement with that. There's a tremendous amount of passion that's brought forth as Mars shifts into the sign of Scorpio on the 11th, even though there can be sometimes a slight indirect quality there. We do have, again, this feeling of intensity and sort of laser focus to want to kind of truly bond and commit and align to something that absolutely represents the season and the cycle that you're in. And, what we're seeing here is that, sometimes we feel the weight of our own unmet demands. And, in that we can often sort of seek a scapegoat for that feeling. But this month, as the light shines for you in regards to what has felt unmet, there's a new level of kind of self-awareness and accountability that just says, okay, I need to be the one to resolve this and fix this. And there's a nurturing quality coming through with the Empress that I really like for you, because you just take the time. You take the time to really kind of look within and address the parts of yourself that haven't been getting that energy, that haven't been receiving that love. And, what comes from that, what's birthed from that is this, incredible new insight around some creative solutions for you of how you can make something work, something that I think has felt incredibly tricky, and that you've wondered how on earth this would come together. And it will also help you to navigate where some of the bigger trajectory shifts of these eclipses might also be coming in, a little bit unexpectedly. Sometimes we feel a bit blindsided by the changes that happen. There's big hellos, there's big goodbyes, the big news and events that will happen. This is definitely a month that's delivering answers, not one that's asking the questions. And so in regards to that, you stand strong and you look empowered with the energy that's coming through for you. Now, that new moon solar eclipse landing on the 14th at Libra, 21 degrees, remember the focus is really addressing the demands within each and every sort of conscious relationship that we have in our life, the desires that we have. And, they're calling us out to sort of stop accepting scenarios and situations that may be bringing about unhelpful patterns, especially around codependency. So this ring of fire of the new moon eclipse, brings to light something powerful and important. Now, Chariot here, along with the Knight of Wands, is really advocating for this movement and momentum, this forging ahead even in spite of circumstances and conditions not being ideal, you definitely have the courage and the bravery to be able to tackle and take something on through the course of October and really make the difference and see the difference for yourself. Part of that will also mean enabling you to move on in terms of the growth cycle within relationship dynamics. So yes, for some that might mean a complete separation, a split, a break. But for others, it will be like, well, we have to move on from this because we've been going round and round in circles. And especially through retrograde season around Venus and Mercury in the last few weeks, it might have felt just incredibly difficult to get on the same page. What we have this month, through this opportunity for these sort of conscious, conflicted conversations, being really open and transparent with one another about what it's going to take, we do find some sense of compromise, or at least a short-term strategy that's going to enable you to kind of draw a line with something and start new conversations. And I think that's so incredibly important, because we do see success and victory, but remember, the Chariot has these like opposing forces. Yeah, we usually are depicted by this sort of black and white horse. And so the struggle there to kind of keep the two, and the polarity that they represent is very sort of indicative of how you may be feeling in regards to some of these relationship issues or situations that you're navigating through October. But what we want to say to you is that more than anything, we need to find a way to move on. If we kind of maintain or perpetuate a sense of stagnancy, or you feel like you're having the same conversation that you were 6 months ago, then there's no opportunity for the growth to be realized and integrated. And that's perhaps where you make the decision to say, okay, I need some time away, or I need a break, because you need to be advocating for the growth that you have experienced and making those changes and adjustments within yourself. And if you can't find the ability to do that within the dynamic, take some time to experience that for yourself and then come back around. We're never at necessarily the same conscious level, with other people when we come together with them. But I do think that this is a relationship revolution for you this month. And around that new moon, there's a recognition, love isn't just a feeling. It's not a passive energy. It requires action and active participation. It has intention. And I think you are reviewing your intentions around love for those of you involved in romantic connections. But even where this is coming in with other situations in your life, especially what's happening in terms of your purpose and career, remember, we're fully immersed into 10th house energy in October for you. And the Wheel of Fortune is delivering. Yeah, there's such a sense of rich, creative spark taking place this month, where you just feel capable and ready to take it on and to have the conversations and actually to put your hand up and say, yeah, that's me, or I can do that, or I can learn that, or I'm ready to sort of be a part of this. And that sort of willingness as well to just kind of put yourself forward is incredibly important, because again, it sort of opens doors, and the networking component that sort of arrives for you this month is really significant. Now remember, the veil is incredibly thin, so your ability to connect with those guiding you from the unseen, those loved ones in spirit, your spirit guides, energies from beyond the veil that are directly supporting your purpose and your blueprint, are, putting people in touch with you into your pathway this month to help support this shift and change. And there's a kind of seasonal change that's happening. You'll have felt that from equinox last month. And, you need to be in a position to be able to say yes. But if you don't move forward, you're not going to arrive at that synchronistic moment where the wheel says yes now. So pay very close attention around that new moon and towards the time where the sun comes into Scorpio, because I feel like that part of October is laden with opportunity, and there's something that's showing up by way of even a sort of random conversation that puts you in touch with somebody that seems to just spark a whole, domino effect that could be, when you look back, quite incredible. Again, I have this sense of you thinking, God, I don't even know who I was in that moment. Maybe it's a little Dutch courage to sort of just really ask for something. You know, instead of just waiting to see, you know, if it's possible or if somebody thinks you're worthy or deserving enough. In fact, there's a whole piece here that's emerging as we come into Scorpio season for you this month, Capricorn, where, you know, where can we find that skillful sort of sense of surrender where, you know, you don't feel like you have to keep proving and earning the things that you desire and that you want so much for yourself. You know, there's a active rewiring to help you find greater ease in regards to things. Now, when the sun shifts into Scorpio on the 23rd, we're into your 11th house energy, which, remember, is realigning you with your hopes and dreams, but there's also a lot going on with the community and the groups and the teams that you're a part of, you know, friendship circles that are going on. So there could be some major shifts and changes taking place in regards to this as well. And, you know, we come towards this lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 28th. And, you know, this is a significant one because we're now closing that chapter. We've been working with those themes since November 2021. So what have you learned? Because this closure point, you know, we have to resolve something. We have to appreciate the lesson that we've learned. We have to look at what we're going to integrate or do differently, all around that sense of security. But see, this lunar eclipse is aspected hard with Mercury and Mars and Jupiter. So there's a sort of dramatic quality. There's a sense of things feeling exaggerated. So, you know, you could have some chaos and conflict that's going on, or people saying things and they're just being taken out of context and amplified and blown up. You know, we do have a supportive Saturnian conversation that comes in that just sort of helps to strike a little bit more of a level head and help you to turn things around as well. So don't worry if it feels like things sort of are, you know, unraveling very quickly based on, you know, conjecture or things that people have said that don't really have any real truth or weight, but all of a sudden have influenced something that you're connected or involved with. I do think you'll be able to sort of regain a sense of balance and equilibrium in regards to that. I also think you're going to have an incredibly powerful sign that will show up from your guides that will also give you validation, direct evidence that, hey, listen, it's okay, you're on the right path. You can trust in how you feel and what you're thinking, even if you look around and the circumstances and conditions feel like they're in complete opposition to that. You have been guided to this point for a very specific reason. But we also have to be acutely aware with that lunar eclipse of what was I meant to have learned since November 21. What has gone on for me? So then, of course, we will welcome Halloween, Samhain, on the 31st. And the same day, Venus trines with Uranus. So there's something a little bit unexpected and some, you know, interesting news that can come in, especially pertaining to your sense of value. Yeah, how you value yourself, a change that you've made, a different attitude that you're bringing forth. And perhaps a revisitation of what happened in any showdowns earlier in the month, and then realizing the upside or the kind of gift or the benefit that comes through in regards to that. Somebody seeing you in a completely different light. You know, your energy just coming across differently in a specific situation. So there's definitely something to pay very close attention to. So that, you know, final few days of October are intense and powerful, but also incredibly insightful. If you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover in my extended reading, Capricorn, we'll talk for like 30 minutes or so more. We'll go into this deeper. We'll also look at a relationship question and a personal question for you, okay? I'm just going to go ahead now and clarify some of these cards, see the direction we will be taking this reading. We've got 6 of Swords, Judgment coming through. All the decks that I use are always listed below for your reference, okay? And this month, you can check out my eclipse activation. You can also discover a soul-guided journey to connect with your spirit guides, so either strengthening that connection or indeed meeting for the first time. So you'll find these along with my sacred titles, my Life Soul Vision Oracle deck, my Moon Musings book. So if you enjoy my work, please check these things out. They're all been created to support you on your journey. High Priestess, 7 of Cups, Chariot, 5 of Wands, King of Wands. Look at all this fire coming through. It's, you know, incredibly generative. It really helps you to release as well, you know, to clear, to burn. You know, I would be working with the sacred violet flame this month. Use that ritual powerfully when you need it. And, you know, even if you find at times the chaos of some of these eclipses, the intensity, you know, of this season and sort of how it's feeling for you, remember, you know, that fire can burn through, it can clear, it can transmute, and it can transform. You can harness and leverage the energy. And this is what I've really been saying about October. It might feel like it's taking us on a bit of a roller coaster ride, but if we get on board, we can feel the exhilaration and the adventure of that, and we can use that power to kind of catapult ourselves forward, because there is this sense of kind of almost like warp speed manifestations that can take place. Plus we have this kind of wild card component that plays out, and you've got that Wheel of Fortune showing up. So there's a pleasant surprise and a, you know, a really powerful blessing on its way in here. Let's have a look at the oracle cards for you this month. So this is my deck, Life Soul Vision. Let's have a look. Waves crash and stars fall. We have full moon, soulful surrender. We have Spirit Crane, dance with the divine. Earth, medicine and magic cast their spells. You see the intensity of some of these coming through. Just in alignment, but again, you know, we're harnessing the power. You've got solar plexus, stand in your light. And Queen of Earth, beautiful card for you, nature's blessing. Okay. Right, let's pull from a couple more oracle decks, just to see the messages we will look into for your extended reading. Spirit Guardian of Autumn, letting go. Another energy of release here, something that you need to clear out in order to make space for all of this new generative energy that wants to bring something in for you. We also have the Magician and the Mirror. Thank you so much for joining me, Capricorn. I look forward to continuing this on the extended. I wish you well for this month of October. Take good care. I'll see you again next time.